For starters, Clyde stopped typing as the printer began spitting out paper. He soon handed me the swarm sheets of paper. These are the employment documents that must be filled out by our next meeting on September 2nd if you want to earn a job here. I skimmed through the papers in complete disbelief. I couldn't believe I was being hired by City Hall. I'm sure my parents would be proud of me. Spoiler alert, they don't care. We can't stay here for much longer. Put the papers down on the table so we can begin heading to the car. We'll come back after our investigation to get your employment papers. Clyde was pacing on the other side of the table as I placed the papers down, obeying his command with no hesitation. Clyde stopped pacing and walked over to the door, opening it as he gestured me out of the room. We began to walk down the long hallway into the lobby. What are we going to be doing? I asked as Clyde and I both exited City Hall. Well, for starters, we're going to head into my car and pick up Master Johnny. Then we're heading to the fairgrounds for investigation purposes. We're picking up Master Johnny? Yes, but after we conclude our investigation at the fairgrounds, we're heading to Mr. Franklin's home after dropping Master Johnny off at City Hall. Clyde grabbed the ball of keys hanging off his waist, clicking a button on one of the many keys. One of the cars in the parking lot made a click as the headlights and taillights flashed a few times. Headlights and taillights of that car flashed a few times. It's the white Toyota car that's right in front of us. Open the passenger door and buckle up, Clyde ordered. We stepped onto the pavement of the parking lot adjacent to City Hall. I ran to the car's passenger door. The car looked beaten up and old, but it seemed like it would still work. I opened the car door and jumped inside, buckling myself up as Clyde got into the driver's seat and started the car. It's going to take a bit of time to drive to the fairgrounds and pick up Master Johnny, so hold on tight. Clyde started the car up and put it in reverse, backing out of the parking lot and eventually hitting the busy roads of Greenfield. The only sound playing was the sound of the car's AC on max. It was hot in Clyde's car. Greenfield Fairgrounds, 6:13 p.m. The car ride to the fairgrounds was much more boring than I expected. After picking Master Johnny up from a nearby Starbucks, a conversation was ignited between him and me. It died as quickly as it started. Clearly, Master Johnny simply wasn't feeling it today, as he kept an introverted personality for the rest of the car ride. When we arrived at the fairgrounds, dusk was beginning to set in, and the heat was starting to retreat, though it was still scalding outside. The police tape I saw surrounding the fairgrounds about a week ago was still here, but many portions of the tape were ripped or damaged. The grass over here is parched from the heat wave and drought, Clyde mused as he parked the car in the nearby parking lot and gestured for us to exit. I took a peek over at the once lush grass of the fairgrounds. It really was parched, just how I saw it a week prior, but worse. I don't think it's from any drought or heat wave, Master Johnny said. It's because the city turned off the water at the fairgrounds ever since the circus. As Master Johnny mentioned the circus, I immediately noticed it, the very tent that the circus was hosted in, still intact despite the huge explosion that plagued the fairgrounds. Though many portions of the once perfect white and red tent were scarred by burns, it still looked recognizable. I thought that the tent had already been taken down because I couldn't see it when I passed the fairgrounds last week. Speaking of the circus, how did all these buildings around the fairgrounds not get burned during the Fair Ordeal? The whole forest was burned because of that explosion, so how are the buildings not burned? I asked curiously. There was never an explosion, Leo, Clyde replied, seriousness overcoming his tone. Rather, there was a fire that started up in one of the police cars, the one that was next to the ambulance I was being taken away in. That's what caught on fire and eventually spread to the circus tent. What caused the fire? And what about the explosion? Your explanation doesn't explain the explosion. Somebody poured gasoline on the car, though luckily nobody was in it. And I don't know what you mean by an explosion. There never was one. I was shocked at the news I was hearing. That can't be, Clyde. I saw a mushroom cloud above the fairgrounds, so how did an explosion not happen? Well, if there really was an explosion, I don't know about it. I'm just telling you what I was told. Clyde pulled his hoodie over his head, his expression looking more focused than ever. Let's head inside those wreckages of the circus. They haven't been investigated yet by anybody. I was dazed by the information I was hearing. There had to be some form of explosion to have caused the mushroom cloud, but whatever. I found it quite odd how a circus tent managed to survive such a large fire / explosion / whatever happened. I was definitely surprised, but there was no need to find out the truth about the events that transpired during the Fair Ordeal, besides a few. Though I was in deep thought, I realized I was walking with Clyde and Master Johnny towards the circus. I didn't remember advertently following them, but maybe I just forgot. Weird explanation, I know. As we all treaded along the dry and probably dead grass, we eventually made it to the front entrance of the circus. The entrance looked torn up and scratched by a cat. Smells like weed and liquor from the front. What do you guys have to say about it? Master Johnny said as he pulled out a small flashlight from his pocket. It's because the drugs and gangs have settled in this corpse of a building, Clyde replied as he entered second into the building, inches behind Master Johnny. I gulped as I took my first step into the building. I trailed behind Clyde and Master Johnny, about 12 feet behind them. I was feeling quite scared myself. The odors from inside this building reminded me of treading through that maze with Christopher, Joshua, and Adeline a few months ago. This time, the odors smelled like death. If untouched, Mayor Xavier's corpse should be located just ahead on stage, Master Johnny said as the light from the entrance faded. I could feel the presence of other humans within the building with us. I could feel them smoking cigarettes and drinking liquor, watching us in a dark corner, their minds rotting with the thoughts of killing us. I was visibly shaking in the dark at this point, though I kept myself strong as we approached the dusty stage. Perhaps Mr. Franklin took his body, Master Johnny whispered under his breath. Hopefully not. We'll make sure to get him if he did take the. We'll make sure to get after him if he did take the body, Clyde said in a threatening voice. As we got closer to the stage, we were stepping on several roof panels. Every step made an ear-wrenching slink that seemingly lasted for moments. I noticed a stage light flickering behind the red curtains as the dust cleared and the bow of the stage revealed itself. This is it, Master, Clyde said as he began treading left. You go on the right staircase, Master Johnny. Leo, follow me. I slowly followed behind Clyde, eventually making my way up the short staircase. Stepping on those wooden steps reminded me of the horrific scenes I had to endure back in June. His body should be around here, Clyde whispered as we made a sharp right onto the stage. As if God sent us here, a bright stage light shone on the dead body of Mayor Xavier. Wait, no, that's not his body. That's somebody else's dead body. Somebody took his body, Clyde shrieked as he got on his knees, plugged his nose, and examined the body. Somebody took his body? Master Johnny simultaneously shrieked as he made his way to Clyde. I was beyond mortified. Clyde grabbed a surgical mask and some gloves out of his pocket before lifting the body and moving it out of the way, revealing a yellow note under the dead body. Circus is dead too. Our party is dead. Circus deserved it. Circus, I muttered. What a unique name. Clyde was now trapped in a bubble of deep thought. It's not only a place, Leo. It's not only a name, Leo. It's also a place. Here? Yes and no. The circus that Mr. Franklin created is what this note is referring to. The one filled with dead souls and a pity party. That circus is the place you and I were attending in June and the place we're standing in right now. My mouth practically hung open as I heard that information. It all made sense now. Where's Mayor Xavier's body? I asked as Master Johnny began investigating the dead body with his own equipment. It was stolen by somebody we don't know. I find it very ironic how it was stolen as his body was found right here only a few days ago. That means that Mr. Franklin might be in here with us. But didn't you guys say we're the first people to have investigated the circus? I replied as skepticism filled my mind. Some random teens reported the sighting to the police station, confirming the death of Mayor Xavier. Technically, we're not necessarily the first people to come in here, and we're certainly not the last. Every part of my body went numb as Master Johnny spoke. It took me a few seconds to comprehend what he meant by that means Mr. Franklin might be in here with us. Once I comprehended those words, I became fearful. Master Johnny grabbed the walkie-talkie that was on his waist and whispered, Unit 4 to all police and sheriff units, we need backup. Clyde's expression showed fearfulness, but he was trying to hide it. Master, we'll be fine. No need to call for backup. Just a few more minutes in here, we'll be out, Clyde said, not watching his voice level. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean for all that to come out so loudly. After Clyde spoke, I could hear faint music playing in the back of the tent. It was music normally played at circuses. Or I guess I should say circuses. Did you guys hear that? I whispered to Clyde. He nodded silently, gesturing me to be quiet. Master, Clyde tapped on Master Johnny's shoulder, saving him from the thought bubble he was caught in. We need to leave now. The creepy music continued, but I could tell it was getting louder, which meant it was getting closer. Who here is a good boy? A man cooed in the darkness. Come here, I have a blade for you. That voice belonged to Mr. Franklin, and I completely recognized it. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Master Johnny was right when he said he was in here with us. God, God, God. I remembered that there was a back entrance to the stage, so that was how I was gonna escape this situation. I don't know how Clyde and Master Johnny were gonna escape, but screw them. I couldn't wait for a second. I couldn't wait a second for them in a situation like this. They should have known that it was a stupid decision to go inside a sketchy abandoned tent. I dashed to the back entrance of the stage in a matter of seconds, shoving the door open and running outside. I eventually made it to the nearby street, hyperventilating with stress. I wanted to go back home and never be in a situation like that ever again.